Introductions, please.
Roseanne Pelini, District Clerk. Mary Vitaliano, Assistant Superintendent for Elementary Education. Anne-Marie Marone Caliendo, Assistant Superintendent for Finance and Facilities. Stephanie Guerin, Board Trustee.
David Caston, Board Trustee.
Diana Acantoro, Board Trustee.
Lawrence Fraser, Returning for the District.
Kelly Fallon, Superintendent of Schools.
Eric Gehringswald, Board President.
Betty DiSabato, Board Vice President.
Paul Peller, Board Trustee.
Adam Kleinberg, Board Trustee. John O'Farrell, Assistant Superintendent for Secondary Education.
Patrick Harrigan, Deputy Superintendent.
We do have a few guests here this evening. We have Wendy Nadalone, who is the President of PTA Council. We have Carol Dyches, who's the President of the SEPTA Group. And I thought I saw Lori Levine, who is the President of the Paraprofessionals Association, but maybe she's not in the room at this time. Okay, great. Now I'll turn the meeting over to Mrs. Cooper, who personally I just would like to say that my children attended Pominock, I want to say from 1990, I want to say 8 maybe, in that ballpark all the way through about 2013.
Yes.
So it was a tremendous run that we had here at Pominock. I love Pominock. I love the teachers here. I love the building here. I love all of the principals that were here while my children were here. So it was a great experience, and I'm sure that the people who are here today, their children are having a similar experience. So thank you, Mrs. Cooper.
Thank you.
Good evening, and welcome to Pominock Elementary School. On behalf of my wonderful staff sitting over there, a very warm welcome goes out to our superintendent and Pominock friend, Mrs. Kelly Fallon, and our board president, Mr. Eric Gehringswald, our assistant superintendents, and the entire Board of Education. We're honored to be the host site for this evening's Board of Education meeting. Tonight is a great forum for me to share with the board and the community what a warm and wonderful place Pominock continues to be. I look forward to it each year. Well, this year, we are refreshed by the positivity that permeates the halls and classrooms here. There's no staff like the Pominock staff that truly understands the power of positivity. We know the power of positivity well, and we gladly pass the power around to each other and forward to students and families. Optimism is our philosophy, and positively is simply our way of life. Already, we have accomplished so many positive things. We started the school year with effective professional development and collaboration for all teachers, arming them with the additional tools they need to meet the academic, the social, and the emotional needs of the students who would spend the year in their caring hands. Our fall festival occurred soon after. This PTA-sponsored, family-centered outside carnival, located right in our own backyard, was filled with free activities and the excitement of hundreds of children. Our Kids Connect program is our character education program that focuses on building and strengthening positive character traits we want all of our kids to have. It got off to another great start. And the added component of our Family Connection Night, a school-wide commitment to our Pominock families, was met with positive praise. Once a month, typical homework is not assigned in any of our classes. Instead, the focus is on family discussions centered around the assigned character theme, where families are expected to spend the evenings engaged in character-building discussions and activities that we suggest. Earlier this month, our student council, they took a nice little trip to our local Stop and Shop. With the help of our student council advisors, 4th and 5th graders roamed the aisles, making selections and purchases for food baskets that will find their way to the home of some of our neediest families. The spirit of caring and giving and also receiving is part of the Pominock tradition during the holidays and also throughout the year. Recently, we had our evening chorus concert. It was a melody of pure joy. And currently, active plans are already underway as we prepare for next month's annual curriculum celebration. Continuing the optimism that shines so bright here, This year's theme is dubbed Better Me, Better We, the Power of Positivity. Each grade level will weave a positive thread through such topics as family values, friendships, the rainforest, and even American pioneers. If you're in the neighborhood January 21st between 6 and 8, please feel free to stop on by. We'd love to have you. The remainder of the school year promises to be just as exciting and packed with positive possibilities as the first 3.5 months of school. You can be sure, working as a team with the staff, the PTA, parent volunteers, and our wonderful kids, we have so much to look forward to here at Pominock. We're all excited. On behalf of the amazing and talented staff, thank you for letting us shine in the spotlight tonight. Enjoy the holidays and have a great evening. And thank you to all of my staff that came out tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mrs. Cooper. It is always a pleasure to be at Pominock. The energy, the connectedness to students, the engagement in student learning when I visit the school, it is just amazing, and it is always a pleasure to see this building that is always so alive. So thank you for being alive again this evening. And on behalf of the Board of Education and the Central Office, I wish all of you also a wonderful holiday season.
I do have one housekeeping item that I need to read. In accordance with the open meeting laws, the audio or videotaping of a public school board meeting is legal as long as it remains unobtrusive and does not disrupt or interfere with the deliberative process or the right of persons in attendance to observe or listen to the proceedings. Persons addressing the board are advised that a public school board meeting is subject to being taped, and thus that any comments, questions, or statements made during the participation portions of the meeting may appear in print or online, including YouTube or other websites, and may be used for political or personal purposes as the individual taping the meeting sees fit. Great. So at this point in time, I'd like to approve the minutes of the board meeting of November 16th. Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Do we have a second?
Second?
Any comments or questions? All those in favor? Great. Do we have any correspondence?
None.
Any board committee updates?
Yes. Education Committee, we met. We discussed an attendance policy. It was reported and we were finding that kids had excessive excused and unexcused absences. So we are testing a process these last 2 quarters of this school year, and with the hopes of implementing it next year to have better track of an attendance policy with certain ramifications, letters to parents, more of a formal process.
Mr. Cousin, I hate to interrupt. Could we just, at the high school, correct?
At the high school.
The 10th, great.
Sorry.
That's okay.
We also discussed, and we've been examining student performance, both from recent graduates and from current students. We're trying to ensure that we are addressing needs of all students at all levels, making sure that we're addressing the high-achieving students, the students in the middle ranges, the students that need some extra care and attention. We're trying to make sure that we cover all of our students at all of our ranges. So we're addressing that and researching that to make sure that we're catching everybody. Sort of unofficially, it sounds like we're doing well so far for college admissions this year, from what I hear. So far, so good. Thank you.
Very good things.
Yes.
Great.
Policy Committee will have some policies to present tonight. Our next meeting will be Monday, January 11th at 5 p.m. at the Administration Building. I know some people have said a lot of the board meetings are in the morning, so we're going to try and have one later and see if that helps anybody who wants to attend. If there's any questions, as always, give us a call.
Great. Any other committee updates? Great. Any pending or unfinished business? Initial comments from visitors? regarding the presentation done by Mrs. Cooper. Are these comments specifically related to what Mrs. Cooper said, or are these comments that would be more general comments at the end of the meeting?
Who are you asking?
Mr. Venezia, you're the first one? You'd like to defer till the appropriate time? Okay. Jen Boudin? Are you commenting on Mrs. Cooper's thing, or?
No.
So would you mind deferring to?
No, I don't know.
Okay. Sarah Zivin?
I'll defer to that.
Okay, and then Jill?
I didn't see a presentation, so I signed up for the first one, so I'll wait till the second one if you
Okay.
call that a presentation.
Okay. Yeah, that's a general comment area.
Okay.
Okay, great. So then I'll turn the meeting over to Mrs. Fallon.
Thank you, Mr. Gehringswald. Dr. Harrison?
Thank you, Mrs. Fallon. This evening's personnel report contains a certificated, non-certificated, and additional compensation report. I'd just like to highlight 2 individuals from the non-cert side who have announced their retirement. Linda DeAndre, clerical from High School West, and Diane Tilden, a bus driver, have their retirements up for approval this evening.
Great. I would like to ask if we could have a motion to take the report in its entirety.
Motion?
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the report in its entirety.
Motion. Second.
Great. Any comments or questions?
Only comment I have is just I'm friends with one of the people on this list. I had no idea she was up for a position. Same person I mentioned a few months ago. I have no comment. Just want to make everybody aware.
Okay, great. All those in favor? Great.
Ms. Maron Caliendo?
Thank you, Mrs. Fallon. The first item on my report is a budget transfer request for the 2015-16 school year as detailed in Appendix A.
Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Thank you. The next item is a bid award for our spring sports. It's our athletic bid number 15-15 as per Appendix B.
Great. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Thank you. The next is a recommendation to dispose of audiovisual equipment at Pominock, which has not been used and is not planned to be used, as well as at the Fran Greenspan Administrative Center, as well as disposable elementary math textbooks. Again, none of these are any use at this point to the school district or its students.
Great. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Thank you. The next is a standard review, which our architects go through and make a recommendation on the district's behalf. We are moving forward with the Half Hollow Hills High School East chiller and cooling tower replacement, which was funded through a prior year's budget cycle, and we're looking to have a SEQR review indicating that there is no type 2 action, which essentially means there is no environmental impact as a result of this project.
Great. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Thank you. Another wonderful donation from our very generous PTA, this time from Otsego Elementary School PTA, of 3 smart boards, which are in line with the smart boards which we install in our buildings. So I would like to recommend, bless you, I'd like to recommend that the board accept those 3 smart boards and they get installed in classrooms at Otsego.
Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? The comment that I'll have is that this is yet another example of where the PTA works in a fantastic way with the district. looking to meet the needs of the school, and it is just a pleasure to see that this continues to happen in our district. Almost meeting after meeting, there's continual PTA involvement that helps make Buffalo Hills a better place. So, it's great to see this, and thank you to the Otsego PTA. And thank you to all of the PTAs for all they do. I know that there's tremendous things being done every day. Great, so all those in favor? Great.
Thank you. Another donation, this time of musical equipment, which our Fine Arts Department has already reviewed and would like to bring into our inventory. This donation is from a Mrs. Patricia Kolaski. It is a request to accept a donation of a drum kit, a cymbal pack, and a cymbal stand, all in excellent condition.
Yes. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Thank you. Another very generous, I guess everyone's in the holiday spirit, another very generous donation. We have Greg and Jill Willinger, who are looking to establish initially a 5-year, $10,000 scholarship for a high school West student. It would be in memory of Sharon Stefankowicz, past principal of Otsego Elementary School. It would be a total of $2,000 each year to a high school West graduating student who is going on to either a 2- or 4-year college. If there were 2 qualified students, candidates, the family would like for us to split that equally between those 2 candidates, but at least there would be 1 candidate for sure. The requirements to be considered would be that the student has gone above and beyond assimilating a special education student into the mainstream, both inside and outside of school. So the request is for us to establish this memorial scholarship in the amount of $2,000 each year, an initial funding of $10,000 to cover the next 5 years with the hope of going on beyond that.
Great. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? Again, I'll just, kind of echo the same sentiments that I did with the prior donations. And again, it is wonderful to see the community do these types of things for the school district. I have the benefit of being involved in the Shelley Carnello scholarship that is done as well. And, it is just great to see people give so much to our kids. Sometimes I wonder if our kids realize how fortunate they are, but the beauty is that they are fortunate and that we can at least recognize that. So, all those in favor? Great, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And one final item, I have some additional extra classroom activity charters, which we received after the last board meeting, so I'm kindly asking for the board to acknowledge and accept those charters from Candlewood Middle School.
Great. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor? Great.
Thank you very much.
Mrs. Vitaliata?
Thank you, Mrs. Fallon. For the board's approval this evening, I have a recommendation from the Committee on Preschool Special Education.
Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor? Great, thank you.
Mr. O'Farrell?
Thank you, Mrs. Fallon. This evening we have 5 items for the board's consideration. The first is a list of recommendations made by the Committee for Special Education.
Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
And we have 4 consultant contracts. The first contract is with the Deer Park Union Free School District to serve as the district of location.
Mr. O'Farrell, would it be okay if we took all 4 of those in one motion?
Sure.
Is that okay? Would you mind just giving us a little briefing as to what each of those are?
Sure. As I said, the Deer Park Union Free School District serving as the district of location. There's also a contract with the Locust Valley School District serving as the district of location. And there's an addendum to a July 1st contract with the Helping Hands Children's Services. And then there's a contract with the Roslyn Public Schools.
Great. So do we have a motion to take those 4 contracts together?
Motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor? Great. Do we have a motion to approve the 4 contracts?
Motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Great. Next is Board of Education policies.
Thank you. This evening, we have 3 policies, each for first reading. The first policy is Policy 1230 for public participation at Board of Education meetings. This is recommended by the New York State School Boards Association. Similar to our existing bylaw 167.4, major shift is that we are proposing is that the first comments from visitors will now be open to any agenda items. So that will be a change that was recommended from school boards to expand to the 2 comments from visitors, which we already had, but now there'll be kind of a change in what can be commented on in the first comments for visitors. The second policy is Policy 2315, and it has to do with Board of Education work sessions. And this was a policy that was recommended by Board Council. Mr. Feldman recommended this policy. This is a new policy, although the practice of board work sessions is not a new practice in the district. It is a new policy to outline how those meetings will be run. And the last one is Policy 1420, concerns about curricular or other instructional materials. This one was recommended by New York State School Boards Association. It's not a required policy, but it's a new policy. It's one the committee discussed on multiple occasions, and it includes regulations as well as an exhibit for how community members can raise concerns, ask questions about particular curriculum. This is the second reading for these policies will be slated for January 11th, 2016. So we don't need to take action, but we would need a motion to waive the literal reading of the policies.
Do we have a motion to waive the literal reading of the policies?
Motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor? Great. Next is requests from the Board of Education. Any requests? Great. Board Council? Any requests? None. Okay. New business.
Do you have a resolution? Be it hereby resolved that the Board of Education of the Half Hollow Middle Central School District hereby denies the appeal from the November 5th, 2015 decision of the Superintendent of Schools following a student disciplinary hearing regarding the student named in confidential attachment A.
Great. Do we have a motion?
Motion?
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor? Great. Another item, anybody else any new business? I have actually just two things quickly. First one is I'd like to acknowledge the fact that the state of New York has changed the way that they will manage some of the Common Core implementation, which I think is great. I also think it's great that as a board and as a district that we contributed in some small way to expressing how we felt about that. So it is great to see that New York State has changed, and that's a very good thing. On a different note, one of the things that we have also engaged in discussion about in the past was actually having the district video the meetings and posting them on the website. So, would anyone like to engage in any discussion, from a district perspective? Would it be good for us to do that and post those on the websites? The idea is we're looking to be totally transparent. The public really should have the opportunity to see everything if they choose to, and they should do so in a way that is provided for on the district website. So any discussion there?
Really in favor of it. I think it's a good idea, and happy to see that we're thinking different.
Any other discussion there?
I agree with Adam as well. I think it's a good idea, and I'd like to start doing it. How quick we can start doing it.
We are prepared to begin in January, if that is how the Board of Education would like us to move forward.
Good. Are there any dissenting voices out there? Any concerns?
No, but I just have a comment.
Sure.
Given the cost, the overall cost, if there is a portion that we could pare down or that we could streamline, in particular, we had suggested that there be the ability for the community to be able to fast forward, and I know that there's a cost attached to that. I don't know how anybody else feels, but if we could eliminate possibly that particular cost.
You mean like sort of breaking it up according to the sections on the agenda?
No, I think there's, given the conversations that we've had, there's a technology portion. Amber, maybe you can explain this better than I can.
It's the time needed to bookmark, take a raw video and bookmark it, or put chapters in it like you would have in a regular movie, so that you could go to Mr. O'Farrell's report, Mrs. Fallon's report, that kind of thing.
Right, and there's and the cost associated with that is the person who actually has to set it up initially. So there's an employee time hourly rate.
It's an added charge.
And an additional charge to actually add that component.
To do that.
I don't know if how anybody feels about that particular component, but
I agree with that. If there is any way we could reduce man hours by eliminating the indexing of the film, and that the community has the ability to fast forward or rewind, as
That's fine.
if we can do that, then I would reduce those man hours.
I have no problem with that either. I think let's get it started, and then if we end up thinking it's something we want to add in, we can always go back and do that.
Are those mutually exclusive things? In other words, if we don't bookmark, can people still fast forward?
Yes.
yes.
So you'd just be fast forwarding as opposed to jumping to a spot?
Right, and by bookmarking, there's an employee that actually has to sit and watch the whole thing and mark off, places and list them, and that's just a time-consuming. And it's, I'm okay with the whole thing, except if we can eliminate that possible cost, because it is, it could get a little bit.
If we don't bookmark, do we eliminate the entire editing process? Or there's still things that have to
Probably
be done?
most of it, you'd probably take what would be allocated to have that editing work done to simply create those nice chunks for people to look at.
Right.
And you'd have to still probably do something between getting it from the video camera to then uploading it to the website that we would have it housed at. But it would probably take away 80 to 90% of the work that would need to be done after the meeting.
Right, perfect.
Okay, great.
So you're reducing the editing portion?
Yeah, which is the employee portion of it, the actual person involved and sitting there viewing after it's been videotaped, the person that actually has to view and do the actual bookmarking. And it's just a thought.
Great. Great.
Okay.
So then I think we've got the consensus there. Beautiful. Any other new business items? Anything else? Great. Okay, then comments from visitors. I had this list. Should I start with this list? Okay. Bob Venezia.
The microphone's out.
Yeah, it's on.
All right. See everybody up here, teachers and parents. I'm here to speak to the board about the code of conduct that we have in the district. I've been in this district for 21 years, and I put I'm putting 3 kids through the school district. I had an unfortunate accident. My son got suspended for drinking at a football game. He's 15 years old, and he received a 30-day suspension. Nowhere in the code of conduct does it read a time frame for suspensions. So, besides you talking about cost with this, what does it cost to suspend a kid for 30 days with all the homeschooling, the attorneys, and how many times do you do it?
Mr. Venezia, based on I'm the attorney for the school district, and I'm going to direct the board not to respond to a particular matter because under the Family Education Rights and Privacy Act, any student record, and this will be a student record, we're talking about a particular child here, I'm going to direct the board not to respond to those sorts of things. I will say, though, in general, that under the education law, that student discipline matters are handled in accordance with Section 3214 of the education law, and that the district is in compliance with all of those requirements. In addition, the hearing officer, generally speaking, will make a recommendation with regard to penalty, and then it is up to the superintendent and the Board of Education to enact. And that's actually all we can speak about, because under the FERPA, you're not permitted to have this conversation. Under FERPA, we're not permitted to have a conversation about a child in public.
Okay,
This is a
that's
student
fine.
record.
But really, I
He
want to
could
talk
speak.
about the code of conduct. You know, we have a conduct, the code of conduct, and the big buzzword in the school is protocol. They don't talk about protocol in the code of conduct. So if a kid makes a mistake, you leave it up to the principal and the superintendent to suspend him for any amount of time. If you put these defined terms in the code of conduct, and these kids would know, if I drink or I smoke pot or I do something wrong, I'm going to get a 30-day suspension. Okay, I think it should be a little bit more on the school part to educate the kids that there's a time frame that you're going to get in trouble for. Okay, I would think if most of the kids knew they were going to get 30 days for having a drink at a football game, they probably wouldn't do it. There's no time frames at all. So, you know, big words protocol, it's not spelled out in the code of conduct.
Ms. Venezia, I can simply say thank you for your comments, but it is not something that a school district would be discussing. And I will say this much too, that all school districts make these determinations based on a particular student incident. So it would be inappropriate probably to have a student code of conduct that identifies exactly what penalties would be imposed for particular infractions, because each case depends on the surrounding circumstances, and each case is handled on an individual basis. And I think that's about all we can say about it, Mr. Venezia.
Okay, but what you're telling me is 100% wrong from when I spoke to Superintendent Fallon. She told me that they could not do case by case because they worried about getting sued. If I gave your son 5 days and another kid 30 days, you know, somebody else could sue because it's not consistent. So if you want to be consistent and not be sued, spell it out in the code of conduct. It's simple. You rob a car, you get 2 to 6. It's your first time, you get 2. You do it multiple times, you get 6. Spell it out. The kids they would do it less if they knew. It's very vague, and from high school to high school, from what I'm told, it's not being treated the same way. But if you put those terms in there, it would. There would be no. You couldn't give a principal any choice.
Thank you very much, Mr. Venezia.
That's it.
Next is Jen, is it Boudin?
Bonin.
Bowden? Okay.
Good evening, board, administrators, staff, and community members. My name is Jen Bowden. I am an active and involved Melville resident for almost 16 years. Proud to say it. At this time, I can say without wavering that Half Hollow Hills School District has been extremely supportive in meeting the needs on every level of both of our children. First and foremost, my husband and I, who couldn't be here, we want to thank you for believing in Emma, our daughter, and truly understanding what would be best for her as a student and as a person. Currently, our daughter Emma is a thriving sophomore at Half Hollow Hills High School East and is excelling during her first year in the art program of the Long Island High School of the Arts. In addition, she has won the current PTA Reflections Contest in Visual Arts at her high school level. As a participating district, I applaud you in your concerted effort to keep arts and education a top priority. By sending Emma to Lisa, you have single-handedly changed the course of her life. This program is a true gift. Her success will be a direct reflection on Half Hollow Hills. So, after everything I present to you this evening, I want you all to rest and sleep easy tonight, knowing that you did right by our daughter. Okay. As I'm sure you've seen in Newsday and on CBS and News 12, I've joined the Lisa STEM Parents Association and attending students in a crusade to keep this 40-year legacy alive. Tonight, I'm here to advocate not just for our daughter, but to be the voice for all gifted and talented and career-minded high school students in the Half Hollow Hill School District and across Long Island who would benefit from admission into their various programs. The Long Island High School for the Arts is a special place of learning where high school students across Long Island attend half of their school day and receive high school credits in their discipline area. Its students are embraced by diversity and culture and are encouraged every minute of the day to be themselves. But many parents, teachers, and guidance counselors are unaware of its offerings. Knowledge is power, especially when this information could benefit a niche group of students who fall through the cracks. As an educator myself, I know firsthand the importance of diversified instruction in a flexible setting. In small group settings, the Nassau Rosie's Long Island High School for the Arts offers world-class training and preparation for high school students in pursuing careers in the arts. Lisa has been a home and training ground for the talented young artists who are actively and passionately exploring the exciting worlds of visual arts, drama, film, instrumental, vocal music, dance, musical theater, and theater technology. Top professionals in their fields teach college-level classes and spend quality time educating students to expand their knowledge and skills. They work with them to develop their portfolios and provide invaluable guidance in preparing them for college and career in the arts. Last year's graduation class of 58 seniors received $5.5 million in scholarships and grants from some of the nation's most highly esteemed colleges and conservatories. 98% of Lisa students continue their education at a college or university. Many school districts, like Half Hollow Hills, have outstanding arts and science programs of their own, but still when compared, can't provide half-day, daily, rigorous instruction in one particular field. We, all of us, need to think out of the traditional education box and meet the needs of all students, many who are ostracized and bullied for the differences that make them extraordinary. There is a handful of talented and career-minded students in every district who need specialized attention. Parents have the right to know that there are options for their children within the public school system when their children need an individualized, meaningful, and purposeful approach to learning. As educators and administrators, we need to take pause and open our field of vision by promoting educational services and opportunities available within our system on a case-by-case basis. The Visual Arts Department at Lisa offers students to work with teachers who are professional artists and within a diverse artistic atmosphere with a successful alumni network. Lisa's Visual Arts program offers intensive training in painting, drawing, sculpture, photography, design, and computer graphics, as well as a solid foundation in art history, human anatomy, and art theory. The Music Department provides world-class preparation for aspiring professional musicians. Vocalists are offered different styles of vocal instruction in pop, jazz, and classical music from 3 different instructors, providing opportunities to intensify training and develop a more diversified repertoire. The Lisa Filmmaking Program offers a fully immersive, comprehensive education in the core areas of digital filmmaking, including screenwriting, film theory, directorial procedure, film production, and editing. Students are hands-on camp the first week of classes. If your child is dreaming of a career on stage, the Lisa Theater Department is the perfect place to pursue a professional career in theater performance. With program tracks in drama, musical theater, our students receive advanced, individualized training in acting, theater techniques, voice, and movement. Within the dance department, which our district actively supports, dancers earn 3 credits in dance history and 4 credits in anatomy from LIU over 2 years. Lisa offers intensive and advanced training in ballet, modern, and jazz, master classes in various dance genres, enriching the curriculum, and in additional courses of study, including dance history, functional anatomy, composition, and improvisation. Our newest program, The Nassau BOCE STEM Institute was the first science-focused public high school program dedicated to serving students throughout Long Island. The program, which opened in 2013, was created to prepare students for careers in STEM. Honors, Regents, and AP courses form the core of the program. Students choose between research and engineering. STEM students are already making a big impact in regional competitions and presenting at statewide conventions. Overall, the LISA and STEM programs offer students equal access to quality learning that is not present in many home districts. Acceptance into the LISA and STEM programs provide a sense of equity by offering vocational, career tech education to individual students who can't receive the education within their home school culture that is appropriate for them. It's important to teach to the individual as the student that they are now, not what society wants them to become. We need to consider the economic benefits for Long Island as a community regarding putting arts education at the top of our priority list. We need to examine the positive effects that the futures of these promising students aspiring to be problem solvers, creative thinkers, and peacemakers can have on our society. Today, I read a statement from Robert L. Lynch, President and CEO of Americans for the Arts on the Every Student Succeeds Act. At the White House, among other education leaders, these professionals welcomed a new law exhibiting great promise for bringing arts education to the central part of the school day. He said, for education providers, we must seek to provide all students with an education that is shared and coordinated between classroom teachers, art specialists, and community partners. Forward thinkers like this place arts education programs as critical priorities, including the integration of the arts in STEM programs recognized in the field as STEM to STEAM. For the arts, this law means that states must invest in new arts education learning standards and resourcing of arts education to encourage creativity. We need to band together, Long Island administrators, parents, and students, and unite on the importance of acknowledging that the arts are a valid, successful tool facilitating the mastery of various goals in educational development, such as increasing student accomplishments, improving student school atmosphere from the top down and bottom up. Billy Joel's support has gone viral and is a giant leap towards arriving at our amazing destination. And as a personal link between Billy's team and BOCES, I know that while he supports our cause, we need to take leadership towards success. The recommendation to close LISA was a foregone conclusion. Our current parents are hoping to mobilize an effort to save these programs. For LISA and STEM to thrive, we need Long Island school districts to send us their students who are passionate about their talents. Let them apply today. Auditions and interviews begin right after the new year. We have until March 15th, 2016 to show progress in the areas of funding, awareness, and enrollment. We hope you will all join our mission to preserve the integrity of arts and science education by spreading the word. Blast it out in the district's virtual backpack. Inform your guidance team to promote it, and welcome parents to talk about it at their unit PTA meetings. I implore our district and all districts across Long Island to branch out and explore all of the LISA and STEM offerings. Please continue to support these students and their individual needs in the same manner you supported our daughter, Emma. The Long Island High School of the Arts is a hidden gem that needs to shine. We just need all of you to reflect the light. On Thursday, January 20th, write it down. We invite district administrators and PTA leaders to observe our Inter-Arts Festival, broken into morning and afternoon sessions. Please spread the word that the Long Island High School of the Arts is open and that our elite programs are very much present and here to stay. Call your colleagues and your PTA leaders to organize the best interactive field trip that you could ever attend. One that empowers you with information about our high caliber programs and gifts you with the ability and power to meet the needs of an exceptional group of career-focused learners looking to change the world. This educational journey that I am on with my new friends is about you and yours. It's about me and mine. It's about him and her. Saving Lisa is not just about we. It's about all of us. We need more than one person alone stepping up. We need an entire community. It takes a village to raise a child. In this case, it just takes a few more applications. So again, thank you for listening in. I know it was a little bit long, but this is a really, really important cause for me and for so many people that don't know what's out there. And it could help so many children. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jen. Sarah Zibin?
Good evening, my name is Saray Javon. I'm a concerned parent here at Palmanac Elementary School. I'm glad that you guys are all here today specifically because it marks the 3-year anniversary of Sandy Hook Elementary School's massive horror. It is a parent's worst nightmare come true. Here in Palmanac, the faculty as well as the parents, we're constantly concerned with protecting our children. All year long, our school only allows visitors to enter our school from just one door at the main entrance that's locked and monitored. We sign it, we show ID for pickups, we the parents do that. But then we have polling stations coming in April and a couple more times before our elections in November. And all of a sudden, the rules just go out the door. We have more security, yes. We don't sign in those visitors from the side door, the ones that enter from the back of the gymnasium. We don't have a hall monitor that checks us, that checks people in the hallway, make sure that they don't enter the cafeteria like they did during the primaries. All those things occurred, which is why my children did not come to school, because I feared that anybody could walk in. I myself have called the Board of Elections prior to that date, and I asked, so just a random question about, registered sex offenders and everybody else, anybody who's on parole. Basically, I was told that if this is the polling station and they're within their rights for elections, they are permitted to come into the school to vote. Well, that's fine. I do not want to take anybody's freedom. But one thing I have to say is that how about my children's safety? You know that other school districts that surround us, Comac, Deer Park, Northport, East Northport, South Huntington, they all had conferences and closed the school to their students. We didn't do that. We were the only elementary school in our district that remained open, letting complete strangers, unidentified, unregistered, to enter our school building. And we did not monitor who came and who went. We just allowed them to practice their right to vote. It is clear that based on looking at the calendar for the rest of the school year, in April, you have the school opened. I want to know what you guys are planning to do to increase security for our school. What are you guys doing, since we cannot, at this point, close the schools? I'm assuming that you're not able to do that. Are you going to do anything for our security? I know you guys are closing the school, I was told November, for the November election, because it's a presidential. But does that mean you're going to close it for every other election day that we have? Is the next calendar year going to reflect a change in protecting our children? We don't need incidences to happen again. I'm not saying Sandy Hook could have been protected because of election day closures. All I'm saying is that we need to do as much as we can to protect our children. And I for one, feel that if the board cannot provide extra security, they should come down here on election days. They should come down here in April. They should come down here and help out and making sure our children are safe. Because it's very easy from Fran Greenspan building to be able to say that everything's okay, because the election polls are not at the stations are not at your location. And I understand you guys have tried to speak with the Board of Elections about moving the polling sites, and they have have difficulties with you in being able to move it from this location. But that's where you guys can come in and at least do what you can to protect our children. You guys are the ones who can help close the schools or find ways of protecting us. Making one step, one entrance only for those visitors. Having extra security. I know the Board of Elections is not allowing IDs anymore, but there's got to be something you guys can do. You were elected here, you have very important jobs, I understand, but protection is the number one priority for all of us. The last thing I want to say is that I do commend the work that the faculty at the school has done. We have worked really, really hard to do what we can to help these children. Especially, I remember on the primary, we had the primary elections, we had a new parent-tea conference that same exact day, it was September 10th. You know, our parents, faculty, we were extra careful about who was coming in that day. But you know what, I mean, people just slip in through the doors. So all I'm asking you to do is please put into consideration making sure that we never have to have parents like myself feel that they need to take their child out of school because you guys aren't doing your job in keeping the school protected. That's it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Saray, is that the way to pronounce the name? I'm sorry, I've pronounced it Sarah, so that's my fault. The one thing that I will say is that my children were at Paumanok from 1998 until 2013. So I understand the situation. I had 4 children that came through Paumanok, so I understand where you're coming from. I also understand that what we have done as a school district is we've petitioned the Board of Elections to change the polling place. We've done it multiple times. We're actively doing it again, and we're doing everything that we can. Beyond that, you know, the suggestion of maybe only opening the door by the gymnasium is something that we can look into. But the reality is, I think it's, as a board member, I know that the safety of our students is number 1. 2, we've invested in the safety of our students very significantly. 3, my children have been in this building for well over a decade, so I understand that. And 4, we're doing everything we can with the powers that be that control the polling places. Unfortunately, we don't control that. The county controls that, the Board of Elections controls that, and we are working with them to change that. So we will see what happens soon. We're doing everything that we can, and hopefully we'll have a positive resolution. If we don't, it will not be for a lack of trying.
How about school closures?
Additionally, yes, I would just comment that the Board of Education will be receiving a draft of a calendar for the 2016 school year, which identifies Election Day as a closed day for students.
Correct. Primaries and future election days?
You know, again, there is a specific number of student attendance days. If we closed for, you know, all of the days that buildings were used for voting, we would not meet our days that are mandated by the State Education Department unless we, in fact, took away from the holiday breaks.
How about teacher conference days? They can change.
We
We
have
have
one.
for that, yeah.
Excuse me?
We will close the following week for parent-teacher conferences.
Instead of the week of election.
But we will be closed next year on Election Day. That's what I'm sharing with you, and
But
that
one
will
day.
become the conference day.
But maybe the following years, we could switch the conference day to the election day.
Well, the conference day will be changed to Election Day next year.
The elementary schools are closed.
Yes.
For parent-teacher conferences is what they're saying. Only the elementary schools, not the whole district. That's the day we are referring to.
Correct, but that, they are closed, that would be 2 days for conferences, which I don't believe we'll be scheduling next year. If we're closed on Election Day becomes the conference day for the elementary schools.
And I'm sorry, and changing the start date of school, would that help the situation? Because
I'm looking at every possible option.
And I understand that. Contractually, there are specific guidelines that the school district has to follow in terms of our staff coming back, back to school. So we begin that teachers are available after September, September 1st and on. So we have looked at many different configurations, and we hear exactly what you're saying to us. But I can't say to you that we would be closed each time the Board of Elections comes into the district. Our suggestion to the Board of Elections, I spent hours and hours there this summer with Ms. Marone Caliendo. We informed them that we have 3 buildings, 2 of them closed right now for district use, and the Fran Greenspan Administration Center, which we invited them to move their polling locations to. They declined that recommendation from the district because their thoughts are that the community does not want the polling stations changed. So I would suggest being in touch with the Board of Elections, your local officials, because the school district would absolutely embrace utilizing Chestnut Hill, Forest Park, and the Fran Greenspan Administration Center as polling sites and voting sites. Thank you.
Joe Calpin.
Yeah. Last meeting, we were discussing.
Would you be able to go up to the
Sure.
to the podium?
Last meeting, we were discussing generators, and I had asked a question of Ms. Caliendo if I could get the information on the possible contract of what it would cost to have a contract, a service contract with those generators at High School East. And you said I could, but I haven't heard from anybody on the board or you as to getting that information. So, and nobody told me I would need to put in a FOIL request, which also, makes me ask the board what the policy is, because there have been other community member taxpayers at the board meeting asking for multiple pieces of financial information and have been invited in for private meetings to be given that information. And then I asked for it at a board meeting, and it's a month later, and I haven't heard from anybody about getting one piece of information. So that was my first comment / question.
We don't have that information available yet.
The last meeting you told me you did have it and I could get it.
No, you were asking for the maintenance on the High School East generator. That information I do not have.
So what information did you tell me I could have? Because
I believe you were asking for the price tag on the generator connectivity at Signal Hill.
No, I have it on video, so I can send it to you.
No, that would be necessary. I just may not have understood your question.
Maybe not, okay. But there is the question on the policy that the board has, because obviously, depending on who you are, seems to be different policy as to how you can go about getting information that you request. So maybe the Board of Ed Policy Committee could look at that, because I think every taxpayer should be treated the same. And if you're asking a question at the board meeting and inviting certain people in and giving them the information, and then other people you're telling put in a FOIL request, I don't see how that's treating everybody the same. That's a comment, whether anybody wants to comment on it. Also, the last few years I had brought up about district notifications that were related to health and safety, and I did bring it up again this year. And I know I spoke to you, Eric, last year, and I don't know if you're not wanting to respond or there is no response, but I never got any response as to if the board is looking into correcting that information, or they like the way that the information is being given out now, because I don't get notifications for like health and safety issues. even though I'm signed up for district, and I know Mr. O'Farrell was kind enough to answer last time that the district-wide notification had something to do with what is posted on your homepage or your website, but other people who I know, and they all have children in the district, in buildings, are getting emails of that district-wide notification of health and safety concerns. Now, I get district-wide emails because I'm signed up for them, but I never get the ones that are related to health and safety. And I am a member of PTA at High School West, I'm a member of SEPTA. I go to many meetings during the school year, whether it be board meetings or individual schools or SEPTA. And I just feel like residents who are taxpayers have a right to get that information, as well as people who have students in our buildings. Because I go into buildings, and is there a way to correct that so that not just myself, but other taxpayers get this information if they are signed up for like a district-wide email?
There is, to answer your question. Just to clarify though, so there's, right now the way that I believe you have signed up through the website is for a very specific thing. When items are posted under news and announcements on the left-hand side of the webpage, anybody can sign up to get notifications when those are posted. I believe that's what you have signed up for. Since our last conversation, we've actually created a system in School Messenger, which is the way that the district sends direct emails out regarding school closures or any type of emergency health and safety situation. We've added, typically that would go through the buildings, we've added a community list that people can sign up for, and that's something that you've been added to for that. The email that you provided to the district has been added. We haven't had a district-wide health and safety concern since you've been added, but it would be my expectation that when we do, you would be notified. And that the same would go for anybody else.
So recently, I think recently there was some kind of thread at High School West, I believe it was. Something written on a wall. Did an email go out for that?
At the building.
To the building.
I'm sorry, yeah, at the building level. So,
okay, but I'm signed up for High School West News and I didn't get that email.
Right.
So it only went to parents.
And again, there's a difference between the website news and announcements, which is what you signed up for initially. The school messenger piece, you signed up as a community member. And when there's a district-wide announcement that would be sent really from my office that concerns the entire district, such as school closures and things like that, that would be the intent of that communication.
It's very hard for me to hear you up here, so.
I'm sorry.
I didn't really understand what you said.
Okay, so
if you want, I could call you.
Sure, we can go through it, but there's absolutely a mechanism for community members who don't have current students in the buildings to sign up to receive both the news and announcements from the website and also the school messenger emails that go out from the district.
I believe I'm signed up for that and I still didn't get it, but maybe.
And I can go through the specifics with you with what would go out as part of a community email.
Also, I just wanted to bring up, I was at the last policy committee meeting, and there was a line added to the statement about videotaping. That's in its first reading tonight. So I was wondering if it's in a first reading tonight, why is it included in the statement that you read today if it wasn't approved yet?
The statement is not in the current policy. It was advised by council that we could include that, so we followed the advice of council and used it.
And also, in regard to that policy, I would like the board to consider that when somebody comes to speak and they have a written word-for-word document of what they have stated at the board meeting, and they request it to be put into the official minutes. If it is word-for-word from what they said, I'd like the board to consider, the policy committee to consider accepting that to be put into the official minutes if it's requested by the person who's speaking, as long as what they have written is exactly what they said at the meeting.
Mrs. Kaufman, as you know, I represent a number of school districts. I'm not aware of any school district that allows a word-for-word document. The idea that somebody makes a comment and has the written comments that's generally distributed to the board through the district clerk. But the Board of Education is required only to identify in writing the actions that were taken at the board. If in some districts they will summarize, or some districts they will even identify the issues that were discussed. But frankly, it is the board's meeting, and for the board then to have to include written statements. So for example, if a statement took 15 minutes to deliver and the person asked for it to begin, it would be, I think, overextending the district's resources to have to put that in every board minute. And therefore, it's the board's obligation to identify the actions that were taken under the laws that they're required to do so, but quite frankly, what you're asking, I think, is something that is far more extensive than any school district would actually be willing to do, whether by policy or just by practice. Now, that does not mean that the information that's given by an individual who wants to address the board would not go to the Board of Education. It certainly would. But to include that in the minutes is a reach.
Well, with all due respect, I was speaking to my Board of Ed members, and I'm aware of what the law requires them to do. And it's actually done in other districts, and Jericho is one example. And it doesn't take any effort because all they do is scan the document in, and it becomes part of the official record of the minutes of the Board of Education.
Mrs. Kaufman, I was responding. I recognize I'm not a member of the board, and you were addressing the board, but the board president did ask me to respond to you.
Thank you so much. I also would like to know if the board, because I brought this up before in previous years, and I'm going to bring it up again this year for the first time, so maybe our two new board members haven't heard it before, but I have brought it up over the last few years, and that is a communication issue. I brought up the fact that when new board meetings are added to the schedule, whether it be a special meeting of the Board of Education, a workshop, a committee meeting of the Board of Education, unless a person is going on the website every day and checking to see if meetings have been added, there's no really way to know sometimes. Like there was recently a committee meeting added for education with only a few days' notice. And unfortunately, I found out about it after the meeting was over. And I had asked in previous years, since we send out emails for so many other things, when a new meeting is added that's not on the schedule from the beginning of the year, could an email be sent out to the community to let them know that a Board of Education meeting has been added to the schedule? Now, I know you're not necessarily required to by law, but if this Board of Ed wants to have the community involved and wants to increase participation and is looking to be open, then I don't really see why we can't utilize every avenue to let people know that we have added a meeting. Just something to think about. And I have brought it up before, and no one's ever said to me, no, we think that's a terrible idea. No, we don't want to do it because, or yeah, you know, I'm looking now after 2 years of asking this for maybe you to have a discussion about it. And no, I'd like to know like who is in favor of informing the community and who's not in favor of informing. Well, it's not really a lot to ask for.
Thank you for asking the question, and it'll be something that we will think about.
Thank you.
Next, Oliver Akinrelli.
My name is Oliver Akinrelli. I have 2 kids that's going to school.
Speak a little louder, I'm sorry.
Can you hear me?
I can't hear you at all.
Oh, hello? Is it off?
You just have to get closer to it.
Oh, hello? I can't get any closer without rapping. Hello? Hello? Hello?
It's like every third tap.
Just speak loud, we can hear you.
All right, I'll just try to speak louder. Anyway, yeah, I have two kids that's out of Buffalo Hills. One is currently at Rutgers, and the other one at West Hollywood. My question is more or less of a curiosity question, as opposed to trying to, do anything. One of the main things, if you guys remember, some of you guys that may remember, a few years ago, the district used to have a hard copy newsletter that they used to, distribute to the, we used to get it at home all the time. This years ago. And then, no? Oh, okay. And then over time, I guess, due to the digital age, then it was decided that they were going to do away with that because, the paper and all that stuff, which I understand. And they were going to, and then at one point, I believe they started it online as far as putting it on the website. That's great. But one of the things that, here's where the, I don't want to call it an issue, I just thought, a curious question comes about. In that newsletter, the hard copy newsletter, one thing that used to be there that was really important, that was I think really nice, was the section where they had the high honor rolls and honor rolls as far as listing of students. So that was really nice to be able to, as far as a public recognition of that. But when it was transferred to the website, and then there was a point where there was that list, the honor roll and high honor roll, there was a link for each grade level that was posted on the website, so you can see, see it publicly for the different schools. But what happened is, for some reason, the last list, the last list that came out was in sometime in February 2013, a couple of years ago. But what happens now is also, which is a nice thing, which is a letter that comes out from the district. I think that's actually a brilliant idea, that comes out for the high honor rolls and the honor rolls as far as to the students. But the other, which, that's nice to be able to have that. But I'm curious about why the link for the one that was on the website was stopped. Because from my understanding, it seems like in order to print that letter that you send home, you need a list. So which means whatever each school sends the district their list or whatever, I'm just guessing. And then so the list is there from somewhere, electronic, and it's just a matter of just posting it. So I'm not sure what's the...
I could probably talk to that a little bit, and I think the way you phrased it was, I don't think my microphone's working any better than yours. It's, your curiosity, and, and I think we always try to see every side of things. So for every child or parent who was very pleased to see their name on the high honor roll or the honor roll list, there were other children working really hard to perform in school who could not be on the honor roll, and there were incidents where those children were then feeling upset. So in essence, what you're also doing is you are publicly announcing who is and isn't a student of a particular grade point average. So there were concerns because it does actually announce who does have a certain grade point average and who doesn't. So the sense is to make it more personal between the school, the family, and the child. It certainly was not meant to take away from that honor of the students who did receive it, but it does, in essence, publicly report out which students don't have grades at a certain level that can be deemed as unfair to those kids as well.
that's interesting because based on, I mean, according to the, high honor roll and honor roll criteria, it says really 85 and over for honor roll and 90 and above for high honor roll. So I'm not
But
sure
if I'm not on the list,
Excuse me?
and if I'm a student who's not on the list, the school has reported out to all of my classmates that I do not have that grade point average, and that's, I see your point, and I absolutely am all for recognizing students, and we do a lot of recognizing students publicly in this setting, but it does create some difficulties for other students who can't perform at those levels.
Okay, I'm just going to make one more point because I don't want to drag this on. Your argument would have been, probably great, but when you look at the same argument you can use for high honor society. So those guys are being recognized, high honor society for attaining at a certain the first 2 quarters, that's how you make that, and that's been pretty much publicly
Well, not
recognized.
exactly.
So,
I mean, again, like you said, you don't want to go back and forth, but there are other components that go into choosing to apply for and pursue National Honor Society that's different than a alphabetical listing of all the students in a middle school. And again, I'm not trying to take away, I'm just trying to provide for you another view on the issue. There are some students who can't make the honor roll for all their best efforts, and to highlight that fact is something that we have to be mindful of also.
thank you.
And in closing, there's one other thing that I'd like to recognize. I received a mailing from Section 11 Sports, and it was for the fall season. And when I looked at it was based on, was recognizing teams that had outstanding sportsmanship. And the Outstanding Sportsmanship Awards are voted on by the opposing coaches, voted on by the officials at the game, and then those scores are tabulated throughout Suffolk County. So it's not just a portion of Suffolk County, it's all of Suffolk County. And we had 14 teams in the fall that won sportsmanship awards. And that is great. Every secondary school was represented. There were 2 from Candlewood, 5 from West Hollow, 3 from Hills East, 3 from Hills West, and 2 that were combined teams. So again, I just want to recognize that not only are our athletes participating and trying hard to win and having tremendous success on the field in winning, but they're also doing it the right way. And I just wanted to take a moment to thank the students for doing that. So,
Say something. Can I just go up there and ask you a question? I know it was raining. I didn't have the chance to get here before the list came inside. Just quickly. I can stay here.
Sure.
It's just about the position of the security guard at High School East. The thing came up at a budget meeting, and I went home and I thought about it. And the more I thought about it, the more I felt compelled to bring it up here. He sits back by the main office entrance where the hallway is split. But there's a staircase right when you first walk in that door, that's the open door. And especially if the bell rings and there are swarms of kids, anybody can walk in that door, walk right up those stairs and get access to the entire school any day of the week. So High School West, the ladies sit right by the door. You can't walk in without them seeing you. He can't see anybody walking in that door from where he's sitting, and he's a security guard.
So the suggestion is you'd like us to see if we could improve the positioning of the security guard?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a great suggestion.
Thank you.
Okay. At this point in time, anybody else have anything else? I'd like to ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Great, thank you. Have a great evening, everyone. Get home safe.